My name is Kamal. I'm the Commercial Director of Eversys, and today we invite you to join us in Milan at Host. For those who are unable to travel, we wanted to reach out to you, give you the opportunity to be with us, transport yourself from where you are to where we are today. And it's been amazing. You know, we've been locked up for the last 2 years. Now they're allowing us to come out and play we are. Here we are in the middle of Host, Fiera Milano in Milan. As you can hear, it's extremely noisy. There are a lot of people and everyone is really looking forward to stepping out, to coming out, to see what's new, to experience having an espresso with friends and to look at new technology. Coming out of the pandemic, people often ask me, what does the new normal look like? And in my opinion, I do not call it the new normal, I call it the new abnormal. Will things go back to the way they were? I think partially some things will go back to the way they were, but what I see is a paradigm shift in our reality. In the world of yesterday, people were looking at technology as something that lacked authenticity. Today, people look at technology as a necessary evil, as something that can help them overcome the challenges of their business and actually future-proof their livelihood. When people think about automated machines, they often think that quality has been compromised and the products lack authenticity. What we've tried to do at Eversys is to overcome that prejudice and to say to people, first of all, be a business. You know, whether you're a coffee business or a bank or selling potatoes on the market, it's all about being commercially viable. And being commercially viable does not mean that you have to lose the arty part of your value proposition. What it means is you have to create another layer. So what we've done at Eversys, we've taken the best of breed. We've taken what's great about authenticity, because authenticity is not the way things look, it's the way things taste. It's about the quality in the cup. It's about having perfect coffee. It's about having perfect milk. And it's also about creating an environment that is conducive to communication and craftsmanship. So what we've done, we've taken and stripped away what we think are the mundane parts of coffee making, automated them, and enabled the barista to communicate and craft. So we've enabled creativity, and we removed the boredom, the tediousness of what I call factory work, which is grinding and frothing. And what we see in the world of today, even traditional machines are beginning to embrace technology. We have things like the puck press that actually grinds and tamps. We have milk frothing solutions. So what is left in a traditional coffee machine apart from just the brewing of the product? So today what I wanted to do is to challenge you to think outside of your box and to embrace what technology can mean for your business, not just commercially, but to say to you that what we do does not compromise authenticity, it enhances it. And to drive that point forward, what I have done, I've invited Dale Harris with us, and Dale, world champion 2017, I wanted to challenge him about this paradigm shift. You know, as a world barista champion, he was bred within the realm of authenticity. To him, it was about having fantastic coffee beans, frothing milk, and creating an amazing experience for consumers, and that's why he became world champion. So I'm going to turn over to him and say, well, Dale, why did you decide to work with a company that promotes automatism as a solution?
It's a good question. I think one of the reasons is because it scares me a little bit. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I spent 10, 15 years of my life learning to be really good at making coffee, whatever that means. You know, a coffee producer farms coffee and sends it off, but a barista makes coffee, and we take the dry beans and turn them into this amazing product for our consumers. But that making coffee thing was never the thing I was really excited about. It's like it's a necessary evil to serving a customer, to reaching them and showing them what I was excited about, which is amazing flavors and these stories from where the coffee's come from, why it tastes the way it does. So it was always this challenge that I was having to make coffee, which gets in the way of that. You know, you're hiding behind a machine, you're doing all these physical things you have to focus on. And then I look at the idea of automatic machines, and I too was, well, that's not real. The machine's in charge, so it doesn't know what quality is, it's going to make mistakes, it doesn't care about the customer or about the coffee, so it's going to make compromises for technology that I wouldn't make on my own. You know, that was my first position. And the opportunity to work with Eversys really became interesting when those preconceptions are damaging when we live in a world where everything moves so fast. You know, I didn't have a mobile phone when I was at college. I look at cars today and I won't need to drive a car soon. And all the opportunities that creates, if there's a possibility that there are opportunities here as well as the compromises, I need to at least understand them, even if I don't agree with them. And then the more I began to understand not just the technology, but the concept and the goals of the technology, I began to see, one, where it fits in with what I offer my customers and what I believe is important to customers, but also where it actually makes my life just easier, you know? We talk about convenience as this horrible, nasty word. You know, oh, something's convenient, it's not good. But convenience is all about saving time. Time is money. If we save time, we can then choose where we apply it. And if I think about the business of serving customers coffee, and that can be high quality, high end, one customer at a time, that can be high volume, you know, those are choices. But when we talk about that, the time should be spent with the person paying money for it, who is valuing the coffee, that is powering the whole chain of the work we do. You know, baristas have no value unless we're making customers' lives better. And if I can do that faster, easier, and more valuably for my customers with this, then I should explore it. What I've really found is there is nothing that I can do with a traditional machine in terms of physical skills that this can't accomplish tidier and faster with less waste and with more consistent results. You know, right here at a trade show, if I'm working on a bar with a traditional machine, I know that I will dial in the coffee in the morning, my first 20 drinks will be perfect, and as it gets busier, as more people come in, I begin to lose focus, the coffee begins to change, and at some point, I'm just like, you know what, it's fine. They're not paying, they don't care, it's okay. And my shots get faster and faster. On this machine, I start the day, I tell it what I want it to accomplish, how I want my shot time to be, and it does it every single time, and if it begins to deviate, it fixes it. So I know that now this shot will pour exactly the same way as I wanted it to pour at 10 this morning. Zero effort from me, and whilst it's pouring, I don't need to look because I can trust the machine, but I can also engage with the person at the stand, talk to them about their problems, solve some of their problems, or talk about the coffee if that's where their passion is. I can talk about where the coffee's come from and know that this is going to deliver on that result. Most of the time, traditional machines, the work they do has been replaced by better and better grinders with automated dosing, grind positions that don't change, everything on demand. So all the concept of technology that's in here, all of those kind of steps and positions have already been taken on by other parts of our chain. Yeah, enjoy, right? It's going to taste great.
I've got here an espresso made by a world barista champion, and all he did is press a button. So, thank you very much.
I think the most valuable thing is, if I love the idea of a world champion making coffee, there's some value in me physically doing it, you know, some perceived value. But I don't want to serve just Kamal today. I want to serve 10,000 people coffee at the level that I know we can achieve. So I can set this recipe, I can put it in a machine in Perth in Australia, the same machine in Milan in Italy, somewhere in California, I can set the recipe and it will deliver the same shot to the same recipe in all those places at once while you guys are watching on Zoom.
You know what we could do? We can actually, with our machines, take your recipes and upload them onto the software from one position and program 10,000 machines worldwide to deliver your recipe with your coffee in real time, everywhere, at any time.
And compared to a traditional machine, all the parameters are the same. You know, the grinders are working in the same way, the brewing system's working in the same way, so there's no compromise or challenges there. I think the other thing is, you said that, you know, we're looking at automation, maybe there are these compromises we have to accept, but the goal, the vision of Eversys was to let go of those, right? Rather than just to make coffee, to make really high quality coffee. And when you consider what I'm able to do with most traditional machines, I have really limited control over that. I can change how much coffee, how much water, and you know, if I'm really nerdy, I can use a screwdriver and change how fast the water gets pushed on. That's it. On this machine, I can change every one of those parameters. I can tweak them if the results are off. I can really accommodate coffee that's changing with its different freshness over the course of time. And then we've got the milk systems where, you know, once again, I don't even need to look at what I'm doing. So I can put my jug there whilst it's brewing coffee. I can have milk pouring to, again, a set recipe. If wastage is my issue with my staff, I can set the milk quantity to match my cup size. I can have a cappuccino recipe, a latte recipe, all of it. This actually puts more power in the hands of a barista than I have in a shop. In a shop, this will sound awful, but I have to trust the other baristas. I have to trust my ability as a trainer, which is not my skill set. You know, I am good at customer service and good at smiling at people, but to train someone in those skills is really difficult. If I can make the machine do all that work, every single time I want to drink, I can push 2 buttons and we can have really good results.
So tell me, where is the lack of authenticity in this cup? If I was given this cup as a customer, tell me where the authenticity is missing.
Well, so it just isn't. The authenticity is given by the barista to the customer. So if I hand that to you and I smile at you in the right way, that adds value. You know, the visual appearance of a drink is proven to add something like 15% value to a consumer in what they're willing to pay for a coffee. So I can do that. I can finish it off. I can add the final touches in that moment when we can connect and have a conversation. Almost, you know, I'm uncomfortable as a barista. I'm used to hiding behind a bar. But what if I make all my drinks in this open space that I share with you?
It's a bit like chefs. They cook in front of you.
For sure, it's like the open kitchen and how different that relationship can feel.
Transparent.
Yeah, and honest. And authenticity is just honesty. This coffee should be as good as I am capable of setting it. That's it.
So that's great. What I wanted to do is take you on a journey. You know, a few years ago, my CEO said to me, we need to come up with a new name for our machines. You call it Blue Ocean, but what does that mean? How can we reduce that into a single word? And I started thinking, I was on a plane back from Shanghai, and I thought, let's call it super traditional. And people said, well, what does that mean? I said, because what we've just created is truly traditional. What we've done, we've overlaid a bit of technology to make it super. So when you look at the prejudice linked to a super automated machine, initially it was based on a sensory perception, that the product was not as good as a traditional machine. And then once we had overcome the sensory perception, people started thinking about the aesthetics. So what we've done, we started working on the aesthetics of our machines. And what a super traditional machine is a machine that removes all prejudice. The technology at the heart of each machine, the DNA of Eversys, is totally consistent throughout the machine. What changes is your visual perception. And what we hope to achieve through that is to remove a prejudice that need not be there. So I'm really, really excited to be launching the Enigma range with a new super traditional design, the Cameo range with a super traditional design. We have our classic range. And for us as manufacturer, the true validation of what we do comes from people using our products, from people saying, that our products have transformed their businesses. If we look at COVID had what people perceive a negative impact on our business worldwide. So the negative impact that has locked people into place, it has also been a positive thing because it's helped us take a step back and think and maybe review the way we do things and maybe challenge the way we do things, create a new narrative and then create something new. When I think of business going forward, we need to remove the non-essential part of that business and strip it down and say, well, if business is about being profitable and taking care of our customers, how do we do this better? How do we do this faster? How can we become more productive and engage with customers? When I go out, I want people to talk to me. I don't want people to be doing things. The reason I go out is to engage in community, not sit on my own and then wait for things to land on my table. And what we're doing here with Eversys is just that. We're stripping back the prejudices and then going back to what is the actual essence of coffee production. It's taking freshly roasted beans, it's grinding them, it's brewing them, it's infusing them with fresh milk, and it's presenting them to the customer as fast and in the best possible condition that we can. Working with Dell has been amazing because to have someone like him with his credentials validate what we do is very important. And Dell, I have another question from you. You've ran cafes, you are a roaster. How do you feel about your beloved beans being run through a super automatic machine or serving your loved customers with a super automatic machines like Eversys in your coffee shops?
So I've been working with specialty coffee for a long time. I've been working for the roaster I work with for a long time, for over 10 years. And I remember the first time that a really big hotel account came to my business and said, we want to use your coffee. And I asked what equipment they had. They said, we have these bean-to-cup machines. And I really wanted the account. I really wanted all their guests to taste my coffee. I wanted to be selling that farmer's coffee to more people so that I could buy more from him. But I went to the hotel, and when I ran the coffee, which was really good quality coffee, when I ran it through the machine just couldn't cope. Its extraction parameters were not capable of reaching the wider idea of what specialty coffee was. They were designed around generic, I don't want to offend anyone in the show, but generic Italian espresso from a train station. Which is fine, but it's not the same. And its tolerance was really wide. It could be, 12 grams of coffee or 15 grams of coffee. The temperature would fluctuate, but it always looked like traditional Italian espresso. But with my coffee, it tasted awful. It tasted anemic, it tasted thin, there was no crema. Now I look at this, and I could not distinguish between an espresso I made with a traditional grinder and machine and an espresso set to the same dose parameters on one of these machines. Just as a product, it is the same. So then we come back to that design aesthetic or that service aesthetic, that super traditional idea. Does the look of the equipment add value to my coffee? And the world has changed, completely over the last 2 years. People realized something, that they thought they went to cafes because they liked the barista, they liked the theater, but then they were willing to queue up and wait outside in the rain to be handed a cup of coffee in a paper cup with a lid. So they didn't see any of the magic, any of the product. What they saw was, these guys' shop looks nice, maybe they buy good products, but when I open the lid and drink it, it tastes good. So suddenly the idea of what they value changes completely. So now I know that I can take some of these high volume accounts that need equipment like this to deliver on their business goals, but I can recommend them that here's a machine that will deliver on your goals, my goals, the producer's goals, and the customer's goals. It's the perfect solution.
But what do you think from a design aspect? What do you think this machine loses out? How does it compare to a leading edge traditional machine?
So I think none of it is about the inside of the machine. And it's really sad. It's because we judge things by the eye. what this adds in the right place is it adds maybe an idea that we're doing something different. And I go back to the idea of where the specialty coffee movement, where baristas came from, which is this third wave idea. We're doing something different to the big guys. And for a long time, what we could do is we could use these old traditional machines because all the big guys were using big, fancy looking technology that looked different and unattractive. Now every chain is using something that looks like a traditional machine. They are going back to all this style that the third wave cafes, even the baristas in every, I don't want to mention brands, but in every chain, the baristas still have tattoos of latte art and coffee trees on the other side. So the baristas look the same as I do. So if I need to stand out, I can't keep doing what I was doing. I have to look different, I have to progress. So I can take a machine like this that many people have never seen before, that doesn't look like the old Swiss box, you know, with the milk frother on the side and dispense here and dispense there, but also doesn't look exactly like the classic Italian machine. And as soon as something looks different or surprising, people maybe give it a second chance. They want to ask a question or they want to know why, and that's all I need. I just need enough of a foot in the door that someone asks me why, because then I can tell them. Then I can sell them the dream. I can give them some delicious coffee and my problem is solved.
But you know, there's one thing that we know for sure. People are afraid of change, you know, and how would you convince someone to go beyond their fears and embrace change?
I mean, I think maybe we've been better conditioned to change because of the last 2 years. We've had no choice, and we never had choice. Even before, the businesses that don't adapt fall apart. They last for a few years, they may be trendy, fashionable, whatever, but they cannot survive because the market is always changing. And you only need to look at coffee consumption in China. You know, 10 years ago, no one drank coffee. And now there is a whole generation of people with money, with a desire to create new habits, to be different to their parents. They are drinking specialty coffee because it comes with the connotations of the US or of Australia. In the same way, I'm seeing the business models of new cafes in cities all across the world. So in Jakarta, in Lima, in Peru, even in London. The new businesses that are filling the gap that's been left behind post-COVID, the ones that are able to supply high volume because they're right in the middle of the city center and they need to work fast, and the ones in small areas where they need more of an experiential aesthetic, they're not looking to do the same as they did before because their customers aren't looking for the same. Everyone's had to learn to adapt and to be able to change fast, and tools like this help us do it.
It's really amazing because I have the privilege of traveling all over the world. And what I see is, yes, every region, every country has its own idiosyncrasies and points of difference, but there is a common thread. I think that globally people, especially young people, are really passionate about quality, they're passionate about coffee. And what interests them is the transparency behind the product, the authenticity in the cup. They are not so interested in the method of delivery. A little while ago, I was speaking in the Ukraine and someone said to me about the authenticity of a superautomatic machine. And the way I described it was like this. You know, the machine is an instrument. And if the machine is an instrument and the barista is the musician, the coffee should be the music. And at the end of the day, when you go to a concert, do you ask people what instruments they play? No. All you do is focus on the music. It's all about the music. And in our industry, that's what it should be. It should be about the coffee. It should be about the authenticity in the cup. It should be about the experience, and it should be about community. So when you actually look at the things you're afraid of, you know, what makes you afraid of change? That fear is not real. You know, all of the fears that we experience are just not real. They're just figments of our own imagination. And when we cross the threshold of that fear, on the other side of the fear, do you know what there is? There is freedom. there is freedom. And this is what we do at Eversys. We empower people with tools, with instruments that enable them to make great music, to experience that freedom, and to serve their market, and as businesses to be relevant and successful and future-proof. So what we want to do, I want to thank Dell for his participation, and I want to thank those of you who have watched us from wherever you are in the world, from your lockdown or open position. And the message I want to give to you is we look forward to seeing you face to face very, very soon, and to share a cup of fantastic espresso. So thank you very much and stay safe.